gonna wait for anybody here. So apparently we did. We waited 6 minutes, so I guess we did wait for them. So let's go ahead and dive right into this. This is actually this is when I was reading, actually going over this lesson here earlier. We're in month 2, week 4, so we're a week behind. Like with Memorial Weekend and all that stuff. So technically we should be in month 3, week 1. Now that starts next week, obviously. So we might have to do a little bit to where we accelerate the process, like maybe catch up in a week, just so we're back on time. But to be honest with you, so we finish off month 3, week 4, so we can run that, coordinate that up to where we finish the program once June's actually done.
They offered me a job.
The things that we actually learned last week were the importance of attitude, challenge groups, and getting your first one started, influencers and how to handle them, and being a team player. The action steps, we all remember the action steps that we actually had went through. The videos was Attitude is Everything, Influencers by Mike Craig and Alan Gazzino, and watch the video Becoming a Team Player with John Apar. So did anybody watch those by any chance?
Yeah. I watched the video.
Okay, perfect. This is my favorite part, to hear what you guys took out of those. So.
Okay, so the attitude one is really good for like your everyday life, not necessarily just by. So it's been like what you've been telling me from day one about being positive and all that. So I just like a good refresher to hear, because I'm still not always positive. Still have those influences that I can't control, like at work and stuff. So the influencers was kind of an eye-opener, because it kind of makes sense as to how to approach them now, and have somebody help you. Obviously not work alone, but, like if they're way higher than me, I feel, then I would like ask you or Rachel rather than, like me or Stacy that are kind of around the same playing field. So.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I love what you said right off the bat, because that's what I got out of the Attitude is Everything. Like, it's not just about vibe, it's life in general. So it's just like in the power of whatever the thoughts that you're manifesting, whatever the thoughts that you're sending out to the universe, they manifest into your life. I find that so fascinating. The negative tone, the like the bullcrap attitude that we can project on ourselves, and whatever comes out of our mouth somehow magically, spiritually manifests and comes back at us. It's what
right.
It comes. I find that so fascinating.
I know, and it totally made sense when Jenna said that somebody asked her, "Does your husband make you happy?" And she was like, "Well, no, I make myself happy. He just gets to enjoy me that way." True, though, because nobody really can make you any way or the other. It's how you decide to take what happens, and that's really hard to do. It's way easier said than done.
It is, but the coolest part about it is like once you learn how to do that, you get to control your own happiness. Like whether you're just in control.
Hi, Josh.
Hi. You're just always in control that way.
Exactly.
And when you have like a bad day, it literally only lasts. Like the stronger that your attitude is, the stronger that you are mentally at being happy. Like you literally will you'll be down for like maybe 15 to 20 minutes, but you're able to get yourself back up so quick and not hold resentment towards anybody in your.
Yeah, that's where I need to get.
Go to bed.
The resentment alone is where, and the pride that people will get built up, like especially in relationships, like couples, like if a couple will get in a fight, if somebody's wrong and the other person's is like, you know what? You just want to give them like, you know what? And then all of a sudden it's hard to say like, all right, just let it go. But we want to like make sure we prove our point that we're mad at that person and we hold resentment, and it does nothing for us. It does nothing for us. It's a pride thing too.
That's what I always tell Lindy too, just to let it go.
Oh man.
Thanks.
Right there.
Like I said, you married a saint, George.
George and I both here. I don't know how they put up with this. All right, go ahead there, Pamela.
What Diane was saying about the positive attitude, I read a book one time, that The Game of Life and How to Play It, and that kind of fed right into that whole positive vibe, like you guys were saying. What hit me and really hit home was I have been trying to, I've got some influencers, and I've been trying to, like, how do I talk to them? How do I talk to them? And I've been just kind of dripping on them, not really saying much about what I've got. I tried to give them samples, things like that. And I've managed to get some samples in their hands, but can never catch up to follow up. And it's like when they were talking about asking for help, asking for the mentorship, the advice, maybe some, referrals, and to take a look at what I'm doing to help maybe give me some pointers. I was like, oh, there it is. That's the wording I needed. I know that you've said things to me before, and I just couldn't manage to get that. But if I'm asking for help, I know Darren will help me. I know they're willing to look at it if I can say, I need help. Because that's the kind of people they are. They're physicians, they're doctors, they help people. So that was a big one. And then the last one, the LST with Jana, we attract the people who we are. The people that we are, the person that I am, are the kind of person I'm going to attract. So if I'm going to be, a positive entrepreneur, that's the kind of person I'm going to attract.
You want to know why I love this lid?
Why?
Because I
Yes, I do.
specifically remember George and I having this conversation with you probably 4 or 5 times each. But it's the power of third party and the power of it's the exact same way that Nick will tell me something over and over and over and over. But it's like when you work with somebody so long and so much, it's like Charlie Brown's teacher. It just blends it all in. I do the exact same thing with Nick. And then when I started actually doing these Midwest tours and everything like that, and I got with all that, I'm like, oh my gosh, Nick, it was so much easier when I started doing Midwest tours and getting all my leaders together. And he's like, I thought his head was going to explode. I thought his head was literally going to I could see his face. We were zooming together, and he was he put his phone on mute, he turned his camera off, and he was gone for a minute. I'm like, Nick, you there? He's like, sorry, I was about to effing lose it. So I had to turn myself off there for a minute. But when I say, he's like, Grady, I have emails and emails since 2008 telling you to start doing these tours, to start going in other different markets and doing this stuff. I'm like, well, maybe you should have put me on those videos beforehand, because it's the power of third party, the power of somebody else saying something. So this is a very important lesson. What I want you guys all knowing right here is do you guys ever get frustrated when you ask your team to go out there and do something and they don't do it?
Yep.
We've just got to find different ways to relate with them. I believe this AD program is a huge program, because just watching you two girls already and watching Morna, Morna gets knocked down, but she's like, oh, okay, this is part of the process. She'll get knocked down and then she's right back up. But she's like, oh, okay, it's part of the process. Knocked down, she's really easy to knock down, but she's really fast to get back up right now. I noticed that. I don't know, George, if you noticed the exact same thing. It's just over and over and over and over and over again. I would place huge value on this AD program that we're actually going to be starting tomorrow. Actually, I think it starts Tuesday. So if you guys have folks that are in your class, so Monday night, so tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, I'm going to do the invitation call. I would be dialing down into your teams to figure out the people that want to start month 1, week 1 into the AD lid, so they can go through what you feel. Because do you feel like you two, or you three, even George, do you feel like you guys have grown through this, even if it's something you've heard over and over and over again?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, to me, it's the structure we've all been craving for the past.
Yeah, it's some of the same information, but in a different format, and it's hitting home. So,
and what I get excited about too is I can hand the same stuff off to George, and George can go run his AD class month 1, week 1, starting July. Pam and Diane in June, July, or August, you girls are going to have your class. People that's the true duplication model. This is the blueprint we've all been missing to really duplicate everybody and continue to grow. And everybody's really starting to see, like, wow, I can actually have an organization of 100 to 200 people that I could lead, because everything's on a blueprint. Everything's laid out. So, good. Last week's goal, our goal was to enroll one customer, one promoter personally this week. Anybody do that?
No.
No. So hardcore, we need to open our month up strong. 5th auto ships have already hit. So we already have a good idea of what our auto ships look like and what's actually ran through. So we already know what our auto ships, So if 90% of your auto ships have actually went through, I would be going to the problem orders and double checking to make sure what orders went through, what orders did not go through. You guys know how to go through your problem orders on your business dashboard?
Yes.
Very simple. Dashboard, click on problem orders and figure out whose, orders didn't go through. A lot of times, I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of times is a credit card will expire, and so it won't go through on there. My card didn't go through today. And there's
Oh, take care of that.
okay, I got an email this morning. There's a problem with your auto ship.
Yeah.
I'm paying with points. Okay, I didn't even need a dime on the card, and my auto ship didn't go through. Okay, so many times the reason why we miss out on hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month is because a problem order will go through. Now they want their product, but they're not going to call in, because is it an easy task to call in to Vi right now with them doing all the switching?
But
No, it's a pain in the butt. So we got to do that for them. This type of stuff that we got to do. We just got to keep them, it's just part of our jobs here. So moving into lesson plan, the goal for month 2, week 4 is enroll one customer or one promoter personally this week again. Help your promoter enroll a personal promoter or go rising star. Now this is for the month 4. This is technically supposed to be the last week of May. But so it says I would just focus again this week on enroll one customer or one promoter personally this week. But I would act like it was the end of the month.
Run.
If you treat it like it's the end of the month, if you treated Thursday like the end of the month, and if you needed an EPS, if that EPS was going to pay you a $500 bonus, would you guys have an EPS in by Thursday?
Lord help me. I'd do my darndest.
Heck yeah. So we just got to create a little bit more urgency. That's really all we got to do, because time is just like, time is our biggest, barrier. It's just the thing that just apprehends us, and especially if we're working a full-time job doing this. Like I was telling Carol, I'm like, the biggest thing that I notice right now is I am so disconnected from the person that has a full-time job, because I've been doing this full-time for how many years now? George, when I met you, I was full-time, wasn't I? Well, actually, when we started working together again, I was full-time, I think.
Yeah.
So when was that? 4 years ago?
Almost.
I've been doing this for 7 years, so I get so disconnected by doing this. But at the same time, it's just like that we have got to still make sure that we're just we can't control time, but we control the activities and what little time that we do have. Just got to remember that. We can't control time, but we can control the activities and what little time that we do have. So, you almost block out those days, those things and times in the day. Like, okay, what are my times that I have open? Okay, wow, I only have a half hour open for Vi time. So it's income generating activities in that half hour that you got. Because all those little 30-minute activities, they all add up. All the little things add up to the biggest things. So the introduction to emotional intelligence is the lesson plan. So do you guys know what EQ is?
I'm sorry, what?
EQ.
No.
EQ. I don't think so.
What's IQ?
Intelligence quotient.
And EQ is
Emotional.
emotional quotient. Now, in my personal opinion, I believe that EQ is more important than IQ.
I agree.
Because EQ, what do you think comes in more in handy when you're working with people? EQ or IQ?
EQ. Totally agree with you.
Totally.
Is it not easy to, when somebody says something really stupid or offend you, to to watch your EQ go down 100 points in literally a matter of 30 seconds.
Yep.
Right.
It's so easy to lose your EQ over people because there's a lot of folks out there that they're just misinformed. They're resentment. They're miserable themselves. So if they can't be happy, who else can't be happy?
No one.
No one. If they're not happy, nobody's happy. So you have to, and this is something that we already know going out to in life. That's why so many of us block out the rest of the bull crap that we see. I mean, you guys, all of you all see that type of stuff out there in the world, but we just try to tune it out the best that we can. But EQ, it's the ability to recognize your own and other people's emotions, distinguish between them appropriately, and use this information to guide your thinking and behavior. The reason why it's so important is because we are in a people business, like I said earlier, and this skill set can multiply your ability to attract prospects. So if you build a large diversified team and others to duplicate your success. So your emotions, if uncontrolled, will push away your team, customers, promoters, and the leadership in your team. So if you have a low EQ, if you have a low emotional intelligence, what happens is what I see the majority of folks come in is I will watch leaders get offended, and they will snap at somebody. They will snap at somebody, or they'll hurry up and angry type back, or they'll say something to stick up for, or they'll say something to snap back. But what happens is I notice the person that's on the receiving end, there's resentment that's built up now. And because there's resentment built up, does that person now want to go do something knowing that that person's going to go make money off of it?
No.
That's what it is. I watch it so many times. Like I watch so many times, like my upline, and George knows who my upline is. Like the emotional intelligence of those gentlemen sometimes. 1 to 10, George. Scale of 1 to 10.
5.
Just say it. Just say it.
Maybe
5?
I'm being generous. I don't know.
5? I would say 2, 3. Like some of the stuff that, well, put it this way, my upline signed up or took like half of my downline and went to another company. Okay, so the emotional intelligence that they had, and what it was is because their upline did something, and you know what I mean. It was just like a constant like chain effect. And so the emotional intelligence that you have, like that, this is the easiest way I can explain this. Would you guys rather be rich or would you rather be right?
Right.
Really?
Yeah. I'd rather be right.
If you're rich, you're always right.
There we go.
How about you, Diane?
I don't know. It's like a trick question. Probably right.
So there's really no wrong answer, but this is the easiest way to explain it. When do crazy people know that they're crazy?
Sometimes, but rarely.
Rarely. So we have to think about simple things here, like the easiest way. So when I'm dealing with somebody, especially one of my customers or one of my promoters that's not making any sense, but I know it, and they believe that they're right, and I believe that I'm right, are we both right?
In your own minds.
Yes. In our own minds, we're both right. So does it do any good for me to sit back and argue with that person or say something to snap back at making them think that I'm right?
Nope.
No.
You get nowhere.
So what I do is in this business, I like to appease a lot of people. Like, and I'll do sometimes if I want to say something else, like I don't have a lot of people arguing with me anymore just because they know that I've tenured and I've put enough hours into this business where they feel like I'm an expert or maybe I'm a professional or I continue to break stories. So I don't get a lot of people like, you know, harping hardcore. But when I say, would you rather be rich or would you rather be right? Half the time I know in my heart, like I feel like I'm doing the right thing. But sometimes when somebody's arguing with me, I'll just like, you know what? You can have this one. Because if I keep them happy, if I sit there and allow them to move on, and if I allow them to think that they're right, you know what? You're right. we actually got to move on, and then we'll move on with it. But what they'll do is they'll move and take action. They'll move off and take action. But if I sit there and got to feel like I got my thumb on them, like I am holding them, pressing them down, I don't allow them to grow. So I'd rather just let them do it and let them figure it out on their own. And then, oh my gosh, they were right. The easiest way I can explain this is, if your parents ever like tried to explain their dominance on, or express their dominance on you, George, you might want to put it on mute so your kids don't hear. So have you ever had your parents like try to force their dominance on you? I'm the parent. I say this, I do that.
Yeah, because I said so.
Because I said so. What does that do for your kid's psyche? Are they like, oh man, I'm going to go do it?
No.
No, they want to do the complete opposite. Now, not only do they want to do it, I told you to mute yourself out, George, so that, you know, they can't hear me. George is like, whatever, it's too late.
There's none of them here, you know, but yes, I've said that, and, you know, I do not seem to get any results from it, so I don't know why I keep saying it.
Teenage girls.
If anything, they want to do it just spite you.
Right.
If anything, they will do it spite you. Your promoters are the exact same way. If anything, if you don't allow, I constantly, that's why I'm constantly happy that, oh yeah, now with my specific leaders, like George, Rachel, and Dave and I, like we have some straight up like come to Jesus talks with each other sometimes, because if we feel it's necessary, we're like, listen, we got to get our crap together here, because blah, 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 blah. But we've already been through enough of it. We've been to the shareholders events. We've seen enough. We have enough references where we can handle that each other. Like George has come at me sometimes, and it's like, okay, we'll change it. Dave has come at all of us. Rachel, definitely Rachel.
Rachel comes at everybody.
Rachel's just like,
Spitfire.
bark, 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 bark. And we're like, okay. All right, you're right. We got to do this. But I mean, that's when the relationship's built up. That it's at a different. Once you get to a certain tier, you can handle that. But sometimes we try to do it with our active associates. Sometimes we try to do it with our customers. You know, so it's when I say, would you rather be rich and you rather be right? I personally, if I were y'all, just go in with the mindset of like, you know what? I don't even have time to argue with you. You can have this one. I'd rather be rich, keep you happy, keep you working, than me be right. Because to me, wanting to always be right, that's a poverty mentality that will constantly keep you from growing.
Got it.
Because you won't allow anybody to be better than you. And if you're not allowing anybody to ever be better than you, you're keeping them lit. You're keeping them locked down. Now, there's people in this business that are better than me. Where I watch a lot of leadership is they don't want anybody to get above them. And in reality, you should have a lot of people around you that are way better than you. And I feel that's the way I function. Carol's way better than me. Carol makes my life look so easy. Okay, George, Dave, and Ray, they make my life look way good. They make my job look really good because they all got their own skill set. Jimmy, the Farriers, Deborah, Michael Loretta Cora, Stacy, Sean, they're all way better in a lot of different areas than I am. And that's where if you can get really good at surrounding yourself around people that are all good in all different facets, that's, to be honest with you, why I feel like we're one of the top ambassadors in the company, because I'm just surrounded around so many people that are so much better. But do you think that I've ever had a hard time with any of them? Like with the pride thing, like I want to make sure that I'm trying to constantly maintain leadership over them, because it's like I got to feel like it's almost like sometimes it's hard. It's a perfect balance of trying to make sure that you're allowing them to take the reins, allowing them to be good. But at the same time, you explain that the leadership role. But being a leader also simply means is allowing people to operate in their strengths, allowing people to operate in their gift zones, allowing them to be better than you. So basically reactions, what not to do. What not to do is react, raise your voice and jump to conclusions, accuse or attack, threaten, quit, get sad or depressed. Oh my gosh. I can't tell you how many people I see, they quit. Just because one little thing happens, they quit. George, you ever seen that?
Yes. Like weekly.
Weekly. Crazy. One little thing happens, quit. Responses, what to do. Respond with a well thought out approach. Think before you speak. Breathe. Delete the message before you send it. That's probably my best advice I could probably give anybody. So what you do is you respond back to the person, but you delete it before you even send it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Examine other people's attention. They're exposed. So challenge checkup. We already know what the current result is. Make sure that we're constantly, this month is what I would really make sure I'd be focused on right now. Is anybody out there got points?
Yeah,
Guys
I
got
think I have
points?
a few.
Have you guys earned points this month? Like, do you guys have your autos? Who's all auto ships have already went through? So what I did with my auto ship this month is I changed my whole auto ship to all samples. So what I did is I got 5 boxes of chocolate, 5 boxes of peanut butter. I got the big $99 sampling pack. I got the all the Vibites, and I got a couple more cases of Neon. And so my focus for the month of June is every day I'm putting 3 or 4 samples in somebody's hand and getting their Facebook. I'm just out there literally shotgunning like we talked about before. I've got everything in my cooler. Before I even leave every day, it's all in a cooler in my car. All the samples, everything. It's just in a cooler in my car, and that's my goal. That's my focus out there today is to get my product into as many people's hands as possible. That's my goal when I'm out there. Because what it is, it's simply just putting product. Like, do you guys like getting free stuff, whether it's anything? Somebody gives you a free protein bar. You're like, oh, cool. Somebody gives you like a free hat. Who will go out there and do the weirdest stuff for a free T-shirt?
Yeah.
Everybody. Like, yeah. George. Batman. Yeah. The things George would do for a Batman or a Superman T-shirt, I tell you. I don't even want to know. So basically, I would make that everybody's focus is stock yourselves up big time this month on samples. Stock, if you haven't had your auto ship, own personal auto ship go through, go nuts with that because that's what's going to plant the seeds right now for August. I already told you guys, grow in June, sustain in July, and pop in August. That's what's going to happen, but you got to start making sure that you're planting the seeds now, get the stuff in people's hands now, because once August comes, everybody's going back to school. Everybody's going to have all their stuff. Oh, yeah, what was that thing Diane gave me? I like that. I got to call her. She did something with weight loss. She did something. I got to get my body back on track. So you're going to want to make sure you're establishing those stuff right now. So additional recruiting methods, which what we're about to go into here, why you want to be stocked up. Additional recruiting methods is the shotgun approach. Now, this is some of you guys might want to plug your ears because this might make you cringe. But the shotgun approach, George, you know what the shotgun approach is?
I don't know what the definition of the shotgun approach is, but I feel like I've probably done it a couple times.
You have too. So the shotgun approach is the approach used by the fearless. Okay, shotgun approach is the approach used by the fearless. This is actually how I opened up the city of Baltimore and brought in 3 regional directors out of the city of Baltimore was the shotgun approach. So must have the greatest level of confidence and physiology. Walking right up to potential prospects, asking them a qualified question. So it takes very little time and you can control the frequency. Not looking for a conversation, but immediately diving into the business. So you know how sometimes we walk up to somebody and we're doing snap, we're trying to strike up a conversation, strike up a relationship. If it progresses, we do it. Shotgun approach is you're just walking up. So I'd be walking right up to George. Like if I was sitting at a coffee shop and I seen George there sitting on his computer, I would straight up walk up to George and say, hey, sorry to bother you. Are you obviously in business? Are you in real estate? I seen that you got a couple of housing things on the table here. Are you a real estate agent or?
Yeah, yes, I am. Yeah.
Oh, really? You've been around here quite a while then?
Oh, yeah. I've been in the business for 22 years.
Holy cow. Now, this is something that's totally out of left field, but I hope you're not offended by this, but you look like a sharp guy, and I'm actually new in the area. I'm opening up my new business over here locally, and I'm looking for a couple people that are highly sharp to help me open up this area. And I was wondering if you maybe kept your business options open, or you ever look for any other partners or business ventures that you might be open to taking a look at.
Well, yeah, I'm a realtor. I always look for different ways to make money, fix and flip houses, investment properties, all kinds of things.
So, pause, stop. So, actually, I don't have a business card, but can I shoot you a link real quick? And I'd love to connect with you maybe via Facebook. And if anything, I actually have a couple of my realtors locally in the area that I work that I might like to be able to connect you with and just let you know exactly what we're doing. One of the things that we actually have is we have a brand new all-natural energy drink. It's already our $1 billion product. It's set to take over a lot of the competition. And but seeing how you're connected with a lot of these guys, can I actually send you a link? Do you mind if I send you a link to your cell phone and maybe we can connect later?
Sure.
Perfect. All right, cool. What's your number? I'll text it to you here.
616-293-2154.
Awesome. Perfect. I'm Josh, by the way. What's your name?
I'm George.
George. Nice to meet you, George. Bam. Done. That's a shotgun approach.
Do you know who's actually really good at that? Morna. She'll walk right up to somebody and say, hey, I'm on this challenge. You interested in hearing about it?
Morna is really good at that, actually. It's
Yeah.
almost awkward for me how good she is at that sometimes. Like, I watched her do it. Yikes. Now, the downside is you will have to go through a larger number of people and potential prospects that you have no rapport with.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people would just rather talk to people that they don't know instead of talking to their warm market, because if they get rejected by their warm market, that's like a little bit harder on them. But if they go out there and talk to cold market, they just have to talk to so many more people. It's okay to get rejected by people that they don't know because they're never going to see them again. So the process, decide to go out and do your prospecting shotgun style, or you can do this while you're waiting for your daily activities. While out, walk right up to successful people and talk business to them. Excuse me, I know this may seem odd, but you look like a pretty sharp person. I run across a successful person like yourself. I always stop and talk with them. Are your business options open right now? Maybe, depends on what it is. Well, what do you have in mind? Well, let me see here. What do you have in mind? Well, not to sound strange, but obviously you work out a lot. Are you in the fitness industry? When you're talking to somebody like that, the key for this success, though, is you need to have very strong body language, stand strong, have confident physiology, and understand it's a numbers game. People will respond to you if they believe, that you believe, in yourself. So moving on to that here, we're actually almost done at this, the majority of all that part right there was just in the Rich and Right conversations here. But what we talk about right now is into the event cycle. So events are an essential element for building and thriving Vibe business, create relationships, learn the latest information in an ideal environment away from distractions of life. You have a great time, build team camaraderie, and overall enjoyable experience of levels of success and high. All of the leaders will be there. So I hear people say all the time, I can't be to an event. I can't be to an event. If you want yourself to grow successfully long term, events are never an option to not go. Because are you guys constantly surrounded around negativity out there in the world?
Yes. Yep.
What an event is to me, and you guys might beg to differ, but what an event is to me is it's your recharger. It's your rebooster. It's your rebooster. To me, it's where I grow every time. Like even I'm to the point right now where I need an event. I need an event because like I have been around me and I love my family so much, but I have been around my family so much lately. And it is like, okay. I've been around them so much, like every single day. And it's just like the events, the thing that just like, it's like watching a battery. Like your battery goes down, 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 and all of a sudden you vent, it goes, and all of a sudden you're at a full charge again. So the one thing that I hear people say a lot too is I can't afford to go to the event. I can't afford to go to the event. where the event, I feel, pushes people back 6 months behind their process every single time. Because by not going to an event, they don't get that recharge or that boost is what you actually need. You always get that one nugget at an event. So it's not, that right there is, now we understand that, but what is very hard is for our promoters to understand that. It's very hard to see our promoters, because I can't tell you how many times I've seen a promoter just say, well, I can't go to the event, but I'll send my people. And then the people go to the events, and I don't see that them going through the process. They don't see them going through the struggles to getting down there. And we all know what that happens. So your promoters have the opportunity to relate and impact messaging for more voices from the stage. Event strategy, your responsibilities. Your team will only go if you go. So if you attend all market-wide events that your leader promotes, attend the regional event closest to you, promote the above to your team. And by now you're beginning to see that everything you do well, your team will do well. So like, for instance, your team will do 20% of everything that you do right and 100% of what you do wrong.
It's either on the table or the counter.
You guys get that?
Yes.
Yes.
Your team will do 20% of what you do right and 100% of what you do wrong. That I hate.
Yeah.
That it's like, it seems like that's so much pressure on me. That's the part I don't like about entrepreneurship and leadership, because I like to go out there and work really hard. Like in my old cable job, I could go out there and work as hard as I wanted, and I was responsible for myself. Entrepreneurship, you take on new level of responsibilities. You're being watched all the time. And it is a little bit harder. But the pay, the reward, the bonus of going through that process, that's what makes it all worth it. Like, George, if there wasn't a chance for you to go out there and make $20,000 a month with this, you know, just constantly, just knowing, setting up the foundation, would you go through half the stuff that you got to go through? And
No, I go back to buying old houses and fixing them up and selling them.
exactly. So, what's up, Erica? She's right on time. Look at that. All right. So you guys know the events. You guys know how important that is right there. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll go into the action steps. So we'll go actually not go through those this week. I will just post them right onto the page. And that way, just make sure if you guys can go right through down there, I'll record this session. Now, there's actually another lesson plan on here, but it talks about closing the month. And I think I'm going to save that here. It is closing the month. Yep. So we'll go over that here later. So after the 9:15 lid, I will post this picture right here, and I'll put that on there. We'll go through the action steps. Sound good?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So if you guys could make sure that we do is what I want to make sure is by Thursday night we got a victory. By Thursday night we got a victory. Monday night at 8 o'clock will be the invitation call for the AD process. So make sure you're diving down, putting the value on how important this AD and 90 program is.
And then you start that on Tuesday?
And it starts Tuesday, 8:30.
Thank you.
Every other class after that will be on Sunday night.
You want to follow today?
Sounds good, y'all. All right, well, peace out. Y'all have a good night.
Peace.
Thank you.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Dave. Bye, Dave.
Dave's back from his fishing adventure.
Awesome.
Thinks he's so cool with the big 5.5 foot long fish. All right, what do we got going on here? It's 9:17. Erica's the only one on here. Ay.
I text 3 of them at 10 after 8. As a reminder for the 15 one. Just after I talk to you.
All right. Well, we're gonna dive into this lesson here. All I gotta say, guys, is we're gonna need a really, really, really good. We're gonna need to really go hardcore on this 80 and 90 for June's class. We've got to dive down through our team and go find those folks. So maybe Dave, Ray, and George, maybe we